I'm so glad you found your way here tonight. Your mind creates entire worlds while you sleep, weaving fear and wonder into experiences so vivid they feel more real than waking. Even now, your body rests safely while consciousness explores. Tonight, you'll discover why some lucid dreams turn terrifying and understand what your sleeping mind is trying to show you. Welcome to Sleepy Science Facts. Now settle in. You're in your safe space while your brain quietly prepares for the night's journey, cycling between consciousness and dreams, awareness and surrender. Allow yourself this moment of peace. We'll journey through 100 psychology facts about lucid dreaming and fear. From the moment you realize you're dreaming while terror rises, to what happens in your brain when awareness meets nightmare, to the profound meaning hidden in your most frightening dream experiences. This thoughtful journey through dream consciousness builds bridges between searching minds. A gentle like, subscribe, or sharing your own experience in the comments creates a pathway for other lucid dreamers to discover this understanding and brings us closer to protect this sanctuary, one sleepy soul at a time. Your journey through fear inspires ours. Let yourself settle completely here. Feel your jaw unclench, your breath deepen naturally. You can let these thoughts drift past without holding them. Sense that soothing heaviness enveloping you, like your consciousness slowly dimming its brightness. Thoughts dissolving into the peaceful fog of approaching sleep, safe and undisturbed. Close your eyes and breathe deeply. You're floating where dreams and waking meet in gentle twilight. Let your mind rest between control and surrender. And now we begin. Lucid dreaming occurs when you become consciously aware that you're dreaming while the dream continues. This remarkable state was first scientifically verified in 1975 at Hull University in England, when researcher Keith Hearn recorded the prearranged eye movements of a lucid dreamer during REM sleep. The dreamer, Alan Worsley, moved his eyes in a specific pattern: left, right, left, right, proving that consciousness could persist even while the body remained in sleep. Studies using EEG and brain imaging have confirmed that lucid dreamers show heightened activation in the prefrontal cortex, the region associated with self-awareness, while remaining in REM sleep. This hybrid state represents something unusual. You're simultaneously asleep and aware, dreaming and observing. For most people, lucid dreams feel exhilarating, liberating, even magical. But sometimes, something unexpected happens. Research suggests that between 15 and 20% of people who regularly experience lucid dreams report frightening episodes at some point. Studies of lucid dream phenomenology have documented that among those who achieve lucidity at least monthly, nearly 1 in 5 describes moments where awareness intensified rather than diminished fear, creating a deeper sense of vulnerability. These aren't ordinary nightmares where you're swept along unaware. These are dreams where you know you're dreaming, yet the terror feels overwhelming, sometimes even more intense than regular nightmares. The awareness itself becomes part of the experience, creating a strange paradox. You understand the threat isn't real, yet your mind and body respond as if it is. Your heart races, adrenaline surges, and the fear feels visceral and immediate. During lucid dreaming, your prefrontal cortex becomes more active than in ordinary dreams. but not as active as during full wakefulness. Neuroscientist Ursula Voss and her team at Goethe University Frankfurt discovered in 2014, with findings replicated in subsequent studies, that lucid REM sleep shows increased gamma wave activity in the frontal areas of the brain, particularly in regions associated with self-reflection and metacognition. This partial reactivation creates what researchers call a hybrid state of consciousness. You have enough frontal lobe activity to recognize that you're dreaming and to make some conscious decisions, but you don't have the full rational control of the waking mind. Meanwhile, the emotional centers of your brain, particularly the amygdala, remain highly active during REM sleep. The amygdala processes fear and threat responses, and during dreams, it's not being fully regulated by the logical, calming influence of a completely awake prefrontal cortex. So you find yourself in a peculiar situation, aware enough to know it's a dream, but not rational enough to completely override the emotional response. Your body cannot distinguish between a vividly imagined threat and a real one at the neurological level. When you experience fear in a lucid dream, your amygdala activates the stress response system, triggering the release of hormones like cortisol and adrenaline. Research on stress hormones and sleep has shown that emotional dream content correlates with measurable physiological changes. Heart rate increases, blood pressure rises slightly, and stress hormones circulate through your system, all while you lie safely in bed with muscles paralyzed by REM atonia. This physiological response can then feed back into the dream itself, creating a loop. The dream generates fear. Your body responds with stress signals. Those signals intensify the emotional tone of the dream, which generates more fear. The awareness that you're dreaming doesn't automatically break this cycle, because the body's fear response operates on a more primitive level than conscious understanding. One common pattern in frightening lucid dreams involves the collision between expectation and experience. Many enter lucidity expecting complete mastery, the ability to fly, change scenes, summon desired outcomes. When the dream doesn't cooperate, when walls won't dissolve or scary figures won't disappear on command, frustration and anxiety increase. The dream begins to feel resistant, almost hostile. This happens because dreams have their own momentum, their own deeper logic that doesn't always respond to conscious demands. Dream researcher Stephen LaBerge, who founded the Lucidity Institute and has studied lucid dreaming for over 40 years, notes that dreams seem to follow their own patterns and rhythms. When you try to override that natural flow too forcefully, the dream can become chaotic or threatening. Walls might close in. The scene might darken. Figures in the dream might become hostile. This resistance itself can feel frightening, especially if you've entered the lucid state expecting complete control. The content that surfaces in terrifying lucid dreams often originates from the unconscious mind, material that you may have been avoiding or suppressing while awake. Psychologist Carl Jung described dreams as messages from the unconscious, and lucid dreams are no exception. In fact, lucidity can sometimes act like a spotlight, illuminating psychological content that would normally remain hidden in the symbolic imagery of regular dreams. Studies examining the dream journals of lucid dreamers have found that frightening lucid dreams frequently contained themes related to unresolved anxiety, past trauma, or situations in waking life where the dreamer felt powerless or out of control. The lucid state, with its heightened awareness, brings you face to face with this material more directly. You're not just experiencing a vague sense of unease. You're consciously present while your psyche presents fears, to regrets, or painful memories. The awareness that made the dream lucid also makes the emotional content more vivid and harder to avoid. False awakenings, where you dream that you've woken up, only to discover you're still dreaming, can become particularly unsettling in lucid contexts. Imagine becoming lucid in a dream, attempting to wake yourself up, and believing you've succeeded, only to realize minutes or hours later that you're in yet another layer of dreaming. These nested dream states can create profound disorientation and anxiety. In some cases, people report experiencing multiple false awakenings in succession. 2, 3, occasionally more, each time believing they've finally returned to waking reality, only to discover another inconsistency that reveals they're still dreaming. Research on consciousness during sleep has documented these layered dream experiences. The loss of certainty about what's real and what's dream can be deeply disturbing. You begin to question whether you can trust your own perception, whether you'll ever truly wake up. This existential uncertainty, experienced while you're aware enough to contemplate it, transforms what should be a fascinating phenomenon into something closer to psychological vertigo. Sleep paralysis often intersects with lucid dreaming in particularly frightening ways. Sleep paralysis occurs when you become conscious during the transition into or out of REM sleep, while your body remains in the paralyzed state that normally prevents you from acting out your dreams. During these episodes, which affect approximately 8% of people at least once in their lifetime, you're aware. You can see your actual bedroom. You can think clearly, but you cannot move. Worse, sleep paralysis frequently involves hallucinations, shadowy figures standing in the room, a sense of pressure on your chest, feelings of suffocation, or the presence of something malevolent nearby. When this happens to someone who practices lucid dreaming, the lines between lucid dream and waking awareness become blurred in terrifying ways. You might realize you're experiencing sleep paralysis and try to remain calm, knowing it will pass, yet still feel overwhelming fear as the hallucinations persist. Or you might slip from sleep paralysis into a lucid nightmare, carrying the fear from one state into the other. Sleep researchers studying lucid dream phenomenology have documented a pattern they call dream hostility, where dream characters seem to actively resist or attack a lucid dreamer's attempts to control the dream. Lucid dreamers interviewed for these studies reported that people or entities within their dreams would become aggressive when the dreamer tried to change the dream environment. One participant described attempting to change a dark forest into a sunny beach, only to have a figure emerge from the trees and say, "You don't belong here." Another reported that every time they tried to fly away from a threatening situation, invisible hands would pull them back down. These experiences suggest that different parts of the psyche may be in conflict during lucid dreams. The conscious ego wanting one outcome, while deeper layers of the unconscious mind want something else. The hostility feels personal and intentional, which can be far more frightening than random nightmare imagery. Lucid nightmares can also arise from what sleep researchers call expectation anxiety, the fear of having a frightening experience actually bringing one about. Studies on nightmare frequency show that people who worry about having nightmares are more likely to have them, a phenomenon related to the broader psychological principle that focused attention tends to increase the likelihood of the anticipated event. In lucid dreaming, this can create a self-fulfilling prophecy. If you become lucid and immediately think, "I hope this doesn't turn into a nightmare," or "I'm afraid I won't be able to wake up if something scary happens," you're essentially priming your mind to generate exactly those scenarios. Your unconscious responds to your fears, your focus, your expectations. The dream environment becomes a mirror, reflecting your anxieties back at you. And because you're aware during the process, you experience the full emotional impact. So yes, this awareness, this phenomenon of waking terror crossing paths with sleeping consciousness, reveals something profound about how our minds work. The intensity of fear in lucid dreams can actually exceed the intensity of fear in regular nightmares because of what researchers studying metacognition call layered awareness. When you're lucid, you're not just experiencing the dream, you're also aware that you're experiencing it, creating a layer of consciousness observing itself. Research on metacognition and emotional experience suggests that this self-reflective awareness can intensify emotions, both positive and negative. In a regular nightmare, you might run from a monster without questioning the reality of the situation. In a lucid nightmare, you run from the monster while simultaneously thinking, "I know this isn't real, but I can't make it stop. And I can't wake up. And why is this so terrifying? Even though I know it's just a dream," that additional cognitive layer, the awareness of your own fear, the recognition of your apparent helplessness despite awareness, creates a more complex and potentially more disturbing emotional experience. You're frightened not just by the content of the dream, but by your own reaction to it and your inability to control it. The emotional regulation systems that work so well during waking life operate under different constraints during REM sleep. The circuits that normally help you calm down after a scare, that talk you down from anxiety, that provide perspective on fears. These systems remain partially offline, even in lucid dreams. This creates a frustrating situation. Your thinking mind knows the monster isn't real and the threat is imaginary, but your feeling mind hasn't fully received that information. The fear continues despite your knowledge, creating a uniquely difficult experience where reason and emotion seem disconnected from each other. Neuroimaging research has shown that during lucid REM sleep, regulatory brain regions activate more than in regular dreams, but still operate well below full waking capacity. You have partial regulation, enough to know you're dreaming, perhaps not enough to completely calm the fear response. Your rational mind knows the threat isn't real, but your emotional brain hasn't received that memo completely. Some lucid dreamers report experiencing what they describe as awareness within paralysis, knowing they're dreaming and wanting desperately to wake up, but feeling unable to move or escape the dream. This might occur because the mechanisms that maintain REM sleep, the neurological systems that keep you in the dream state and keep your body paralyzed, are still fully active even as consciousness emerges. Research suggests that lucidity exists on a spectrum rather than as a simple on-off switch. You might have just enough awareness to recognize you're dreaming, but not enough frontal lobe activation to access the meta-control needed to deliberately end the dream. You're trapped in a state between sleeping and waking, unable to go deeper into unconscious dreaming or rise up into full wakefulness. Time feels distorted. Seconds might seem like minutes. The harder you try to wake up, the more frustrated and frightened you become. This feeling of being caught between states, neither here nor there, can trigger claustrophobic panic even though there's no physical confinement. Dream content often reflects our deepest fears and anxieties, and lucid dreams are no exception. They simply present this material with greater clarity. Psychotherapists who work with dreams note that nightmares frequently symbolize waking life concerns. Work stress, relationship conflicts, health worries, existential anxieties about mortality or meaning. When these themes surface in a lucid dream, you encounter them directly rather than through the protective veil of symbolic imagery. A fear of failure might manifest as falling from a great height while knowing you're dreaming but unable to stop the fall. Anxiety about loss of control might appear as your lucid dream powers suddenly failing. You can't fly anymore. You can't change the scene. Your voice doesn't work when you try to speak. Social anxieties might present as dream characters who mock or reject you even as you try to assert control over the dream. The lucid state strips away some of the symbolic distancing that makes regular dreams more tolerable, forcing you to confront these fears more nakedly. Interestingly, terrifying lucid dreams are more commonly reported during periods of high stress, anxiety, or sleep disruption in waking life. Longitudinal studies tracking dream patterns over months have shown a clear correlation. Frightening lucid dreams increase in frequency during periods when people report higher anxiety, major life changes, or disrupted sleep schedules. This makes sense from a neurological perspective. Stress affects sleep architecture, often fragmenting REM sleep and creating more brief awakenings, which increases the likelihood of becoming conscious during dreams. Stress also primes the amygdala for heightened threat detection. Your brain is already on high alert during waking hours, scanning for potential problems, and this vigilance carries over into sleep. The combination of increased lucidity opportunities and heightened emotional reactivity creates ideal conditions for lucid nightmares to emerge. The experience of dream within a dream scenarios, made famous by films but actually documented in sleep research, can become profoundly disorienting when they occur during lucid dreams. You might become lucid, recognize you're dreaming, and try various methods to wake yourself up. Pinching yourself in the dream, closing your dream eyes, and focusing on your real body. Calling out to wake yourself. Then you wake up into what appears to be your bedroom, only to gradually notice subtle impossibilities that reveal you're still dreaming. Perhaps the clock displays impossible times, or your hands look strange, or gravity feels slightly off. The realization that you haven't actually woken up, that you're still trapped in the dream despite your best efforts, can trigger intense anxiety. Each false awakening erodes your confidence in your ability to distinguish dream from reality, creating a form of epistemological crisis. If you can't trust your perception of being awake, what can you trust? Cultural background influences how people interpret and respond to frightening lucid dreams. Cross-cultural research on dream experiences has found significant differences in how people from different cultures interpret and respond emotionally to similar dream content, suggesting that cultural frameworks shape not just how we interpret dreams afterward, but how we experience them while they're unfolding. In some Tibetan Buddhist traditions, practitioners are trained in dream yoga, deliberate, lucid dreaming as spiritual practice, and are taught to view any frightening content as illusion to be transcended. Among some indigenous Australian groups, dreams are considered journeys into the dreamtime, a sacred realm where encounters carry different meaning than Western psychological interpretation. Western culture, particularly in medical contexts, often frames nightmares as symptoms of stress or trauma to be treated. The meaning you assign to a terrifying lucid dream, whether you see it as brain malfunction, spiritual message, psychological material to process, or meaningless noise, influences how disturbing you find the experience. The brain's threat detection system evolved over millions of years to keep us safe from predators and dangers. Doesn't shut off during sleep. In fact, some researchers propose that one function of nightmares is to simulate threatening situations, allowing us to practice threat responses in a safe environment. From this evolutionary perspective, the continuation of fear responses during lucid dreams makes sense. Your brain is running a threat simulation, and the fact that you're consciously aware of it doesn't necessarily mean the simulation should stop. The amygdala, one of the oldest parts of the brain in evolutionary terms, operates on immediate, reflexive responses that unfold naturally to potential threats. It doesn't wait for the prefrontal cortex to analyze whether the threat is real or imagined, dream or reality. It reacts first, asks questions later. During a lucid dream, your newer, more evolved prefrontal regions might understand that the situation is a dream, but your ancient amygdala is still running its protection programming. This evolutionary mismatch between ancient emotional systems and modern reflective consciousness creates the strange experience of knowing something is safe while simultaneously feeling terrified. Sleep quality and dream content exist in a bidirectional relationship. Poor sleep creates more disturbing dreams, and disturbing dreams fragment sleep, creating a potential negative cycle. When you experience a terrifying lucid dream, you might wake abruptly with elevated heart rate and stress hormones in your system. This arousal makes it harder to return to sleep. And when you do, your REM periods may be shorter or more fragmented. Fragmented REM sleep increases the likelihood of brief conscious episodes during dreams, potentially leading to more lucid moments. If those moments occur during dream content that's already negatively toned due to the stress of poor sleep, you're more likely to have another frightening lucid experience. Sleep medicine specialists note that this cycle can become self-perpetuating unless interrupted through improved sleep hygiene, stress management, or specific techniques for working with dream content. The good news is that the cycle can be broken. The challenging news is that breaking it requires conscious effort during waking hours. Medications and substances can significantly influence both the likelihood of lucid dreams and their emotional tone. Certain antidepressants, particularly SSRIs, affect REM sleep architecture and neurotransmitter balance in ways that can increase dream vividness and the frequency of nightmares. Beta blockers, used for blood pressure and anxiety, block the breakdown of adrenaline and can lead to more intense dreams. Conversely, substances like alcohol and marijuana suppress REM sleep when used. But when they wear off or are discontinued, a phenomenon called REM rebound occurs. the brain generates extra REM sleep to compensate, often with especially vivid or disturbing dreams. Comprehensive reviews of how medications affect dreams have confirmed that many commonly prescribed medications alter dream content and intensity in ways patients often aren't warned about. If you're experiencing more frequent or frightening lucid dreams, and you've recently started or stopped a medication, the connection might not be coincidental. Traumatic experiences can resurface in lucid dreams in particularly challenging ways. PTSD, nightmares, which involve reliving traumatic events, sometimes occur during lucid states where the dreamer is painfully aware that they're re-experiencing trauma in their mind, yet cannot stop the replay. Veterans, assault survivors, accident victims, individuals living with PTSD who experience nightmares may find that lucid awareness during trauma-related nightmares creates a unique kind of suffering. The knowledge that this already happened. It's not happening now. I'm just remembering coexists with the visceral re-experiencing of terror, helplessness, or pain. Research from trauma treatment centers has found that some individuals with PTSD who experience nightmares report occasional lucid awareness during their trauma nightmares, and the majority describe these lucid trauma dreams as more distressing than non-lucid nightmares of similar content. The awareness adds a layer of frustration and helplessness. I know this isn't real. I know I survived this. Why can't I make it stop? The inability to change or escape the nightmare despite lucidity can feel like being re-traumatized by your own mind. Interestingly, some researchers exploring nightmare treatment suggest that fear in lucid dreams, when approached skillfully, can serve a therapeutic function under the right circumstances. Exposure therapy, a well-established treatment for phobias and anxiety, works by gradually exposing someone to feared situations in a controlled way until the fear response diminishes. Some clinicians have begun exploring lucid dreaming as a form of self-directed exposure therapy. If you can become lucid during a nightmare and maintain that lucidity while staying present with the fear, neither running away nor trying to forcibly change the dream, but simply observing and allowing the fear to exist, you might gradually desensitize yourself to that particular fear. Pilot research exploring lucid dreaming as exposure therapy has taught small groups of nightmare sufferers to become lucid and practice facing and befriending frightening dream elements, with some participants reporting fewer nightmares overall and feeling less overwhelmed by those they do experience. The key seemed to be shifting from attempting control to practicing acceptance and observation. The neurotransmitter acetylcholine, which is heavily involved in REM sleep and dreaming, also plays a role in attention, memory, and learning. During REM sleep, acetylcholine levels in the brain are actually higher than during waking, which contributes to the vivid, hallucinatory quality of dreams. Some lucid dreaming supplements contain precursors to acetylcholine, substances like choline or galantamine, to enhance dream vividness and increase the likelihood of lucidity. Research on galantamine and similar acetylcholine-enhancing substances has shown they can increase both dream vividness and lucidity rates, but also intensify emotional content proportionally. Participants often describe dreams as more real than real, with colors more vibrant, sensations more intense, and emotions more overwhelming than in normal dreams. or even waking life. If you're using substances to induce lucid dreams, you're also potentially amplifying whatever emotional content emerges, which means frightening elements become proportionally more frightening. The subjective experience of time during terrifying lucid dreams can become severely distorted, making the experience feel much longer than it actually is. Research on time perception during dreams yields mixed findings. Some evidence suggests dream events unfold at roughly real-time speed, while many dreamers report experiencing what feels like extended periods. The subjective experience of time in dreams appears highly variable, and when you're experiencing intense fear, time seems to slow down even more. A phenomenon well documented in waking traumatic experiences as well. In a frightening lucid dream where you feel trapped or pursued, what might be a 5-minute REM period could feel like an hour of being chased, or 30 minutes of trying unsuccessfully to wake up. When you're experiencing intense fear, temporal perception stretches, creating an additional layer of suffering beyond the frightening content itself. The nightmare feels endless, making the experience more difficult to endure. At this point in our exploration, a pattern begins to emerge. Terrifying lucid dreams aren't random accidents or malfunctions of the dreaming mind. They arise from the unique circumstances of lucid dreaming itself. The collision of conscious awareness with the less regulated emotional landscape of REM sleep. The attempt to impose waking logic on dream symbolism. The emergence of unconscious material into the spotlight of awareness. Understanding why they happen is the first step toward understanding what they mean and how to work with them, rather than against them. The fear, as intense as it feels, carries information. The inability to control the dream, as frustrating as that is, reveals something about the relationship between different aspects of your psyche. These experiences, uncomfortable as they are, offer a strange gift: the opportunity to observe your own mind creating reality, generating emotion, and constructing meaning in real time. We're beginning to see that terrifying lucid dreams are not the problem. They're a doorway. But a doorway to what? Let's continue and find out. Let's pause here and notice your body. As you breathe out slowly, appreciate that right now. Lying here safe in bed, you are not in a dream. This body, real, solid, breathing, is always here, always safe, always your anchor. In dreams, you have a dream body made of imagination. But this one, your true body, this one rests peacefully while your mind explores. Trillions of cells working in silence, heart beating steadily, lungs breathing without your command. Feel the weight of your physical form, grounded, protected by the walls around you and the darkness that holds no threat. Your real body is always the way home. Now we continue. Understanding the neuroscience of fear during lucid dreams requires looking at the brain's fear circuit, particularly the relationship between the amygdala and the prefrontal cortex. The amygdala acts as your brain's alarm system, constantly scanning for potential threats. When it detects something dangerous, or something your past experiences have coded as dangerous, it triggers a cascade of responses. The release of stress hormones, increased heart rate, heightened alertness, the urge to fight or flee. In waking life, the prefrontal cortex, particularly the ventromedial prefrontal cortex, can dampen or regulate these fear responses through a process called top-down regulation. You see a shadow that startles you. Your amygdala reacts. But then your prefrontal cortex quickly assesses the situation, recognizes it's just a coat hanging on a door, and sends calming signals that quiet the alarm. During non-lucid dreams, this regulatory system is largely offline, which is why dream threats can feel intensely real. During lucid dreams, the prefrontal cortex is more active than in regular dreams, but still not functioning at full capacity. You have partial regulation, enough to know you're dreaming, perhaps not enough to completely calm the fear response. The phenomenon of lucid dream instability contributes to many frightening experiences. Lucidity exists on a continuum, and your level of awareness can fluctuate moment to moment. You might achieve crystal clear lucidity, feeling fully aware and in control, only to have that lucidity fade as the dream pulls you back into its narrative. Or you might gain lucidity but only maintain it tenuously, like trying to remember something that keeps slipping away. Research tracking brain activity during lucid dreams has found that lucidity tends to waver, with prefrontal cortex activation rising and falling rhythmically. When lucidity destabilizes, you might lose your ability to recognize the dream as a dream, while retaining just enough awareness to feel confused and disoriented. This half-lucid state can be particularly unsettling. You sense something is wrong without quite grasping what it is, creating a feeling of wrongness or unreality that amplifies any fear that's present. The content of frightening lucid dreams often involves themes of entrapment, pursuit, or powerlessness, themes that directly mirror the psychological experience of the lucid state itself. Think about it. You're aware that you're dreaming, which should give you freedom and control, yet you find you can't always change what's happening, or can't wake yourself up when you want to. This creates a meta-level experience of powerlessness. Your dream might literalize this feeling. You're trapped in a building with locked doors, pursued by something you can't escape, or trying to scream for help, but no sound comes out. These classic nightmare scenarios take on additional meaning in lucid dreams. They're not just random, scary images, but symbolic representations of the frustration and helplessness you're experiencing in the lucid state itself. The dream is commenting on the act of dreaming, creating a self-referential loop that can intensify the emotional impact. Some lucid dreamers report encountering what feels like active resistance from the dream itself, as if the dream environment pushes back against attempts at control. A door you try to open remains locked. A light you try to turn on won't illuminate. A person you try to speak with turns away or vanishes. This resistance isn't random. It often emerges when the dreamer is trying to avoid or escape something rather than engage with it. The dream seems to insist. Look at this. Stay with this. Don't run away. This insistence can feel threatening, but it might also be the psyche's way of directing attention towards something important that needs to be witnessed. Research examining lucid dream reports found that experiences of dream resistance appeared most frequently during periods of psychological stress or life transitions, times when internal conflicts are already heightened. The resistance isn't an external force, but potentially a symbolic manifestation of internal psychological dynamics playing out in the theater of the dreaming mind. The intensity of fear in lucid dreams can be modulated by how you relate to the fear itself. Mindfulness-based approaches to nightmares emphasize accepting the emotion rather than fighting it. When fear arises in a lucid dream and you respond with resistance, this shouldn't be happening. I need to make this stop. Why can't I control this? You add layers of frustration, self-judgment, and additional anxiety on top of the primary fear. This secondary reactivity often amplifies the distress more than the original frightening content. Research on emotional regulation suggests that accepting an emotion paradoxically reduces its intensity, while fighting it tends to strengthen it. Studies teaching lucid dreamers acceptance-based techniques have found that when fear arose in lucid dreams and participants practiced mentally acknowledging it, I notice fear is present, without judgment or attempts to suppress it. The frightening content didn't necessarily change, but the emotional response became less overwhelming, and the dreams became less disturbing overall. Recurring, terrifying lucid dreams, where the same nightmare scenario repeats across multiple nights, often indicate unresolved psychological material seeking integration. The psyche seems to want you to pay attention to something, and it will keep presenting the same symbolic scenario until you engage with it consciously. These recurring dreams might involve being chased by the same figure, trapped in the same location, or facing the same impossible task. From a Jungian perspective, the repetition is not punishment, but invitation. The unconscious mind is offering you an opportunity to confront and integrate whatever the dream symbolizes. In the waking world, you might be avoiding a difficult conversation, denying an uncomfortable truth about yourself, or running from a situation that actually requires engagement. The dream mirrors this avoidance, showing you literally running away while simultaneously making you aware through lucidity that running isn't working. The fear persists because the underlying issue persists, and the lucidity offers you the chance to try a different approach. Sleep architecture changes across the night in ways that affect dream content and emotional tone. Early in the night, REM periods tend to be shorter, and dreams tend to be less emotionally intense. As the night progresses, REM periods lengthen, and dreams often become more vivid, complex, and emotionally charged. The longest and most intense REM period typically occurs in the early morning hours, shortly before natural awakening. This is also when lucid dreams most commonly occur. During these longer, later REM periods, when the brain is cycling closer to wakefulness, if frightening content is going to emerge, it's most likely to surface during these extended, emotionally intense, late-night REM phases. Additionally, the neurotransmitter balance shifts across the night. Cortisol, the stress hormone, begins rising in the early morning hours as part of the natural wake-up process. Some researchers hypothesize that this rising cortisol might contribute to the more anxious or frightening quality of early morning dreams. You're physiologically transitioning toward wakefulness. Your stress systems are activating. And if you achieve lucidity during this phase, you might be experiencing dream content that's already primed to be more emotionally intense. The sense of presence, feeling that someone or something is near you, watching you, or approaching even when you can't see it, is commonly reported in frightening lucid dreams and sleep paralysis episodes. Neuroscientists have identified brain regions associated with creating this feeling, particularly the temporoparietal junction, which is involved in sensing the position and boundaries of your body in space. When this region is disrupted or overstimulated, which can happen during the unusual brain states of REM sleep, lucid dreaming, or sleep paralysis, it can generate the sensation that another entity occupies your space. Research using brain stimulation in awake participants has artificially created this felt presence experience, confirming that it's a neurological phenomenon rather than evidence of anything supernatural. Yet knowing the neuroscience doesn't necessarily diminish how unsettling the experience feels. In a lucid dream, you're aware that what you're experiencing is generated by your own mind, yet the presence feels utterly real, autonomous, and often malevolent. This creates cognitive dissonance. You know there's nothing there, yet every instinct screams that there is. Learning to stabilize lucidity, to maintain clear awareness without either waking up or slipping back into non-lucid dreaming, is a skill that takes practice and can significantly affect whether lucid dreams feel frightening or empowering. Common stabilization techniques include focusing on sensory details in the dream, looking at your hands, touching surfaces, spinning your dream body, verbally reminding yourself that you're dreaming, or engaging with the dream environment through deliberate action. When lucidity is unstable, you're more vulnerable to losing your grounding in awareness and becoming swept up in whatever emotional tone the dream carries. Stable lucidity, by contrast, creates a kind of psychological distance. You're still experiencing the dream, but there's a witnessing consciousness that observes without being entirely consumed. Long-term studies following experienced lucid dreamers have found that as stabilization skills improved, reports of frightening lucid dreams decreased. Not because frightening content stopped appearing, but because the dreamers felt more equipped to work with it when it did. Dream control and dream influence represent two different approaches to lucid dreaming, and the distinction matters for understanding frightening experiences. Dream control implies imposing your will on the dream, deciding what happens next, changing the environment, making dream characters behave certain ways. Dream influence is gentler, working with the dream's existing momentum, suggesting possibilities rather than demanding outcomes, collaborating with the dream rather than dominating it. Many frightening lucid dreams arise when attempts at forceful control backfire. The dream resists, becomes unstable, or seemingly retaliates. Researchers who study lucid dreaming phenomenology note that the most experienced lucid dreamers often shift from a control-based approach to an influence-based one. They learn to ask rather than command, to flow with the dream's energy rather than against it. This shift in approach can transform the relationship with the dream, reducing conflict and fear. Instead of trying to escape a scary dream figure, you might turn and ask what it wants. Instead of forcing a dark room to become bright, you might ask for a light source to appear. The subtle shift from demanding to requesting often changes the dream's response entirely. Cultural dream practices offer different frameworks for understanding terrifying lucid dreams. In Tibetan Buddhist dream yoga, practitioners are taught to view all dream content, beautiful or terrifying, as equally illusory and equally opportunities for spiritual insight. The goal is not to escape frightening dreams, but to recognize their empty nature while remaining lucid. Frightening figures are approached with compassion rather than fear, seen as manifestations of one's own mind rather than external threats. Advanced practitioners reportedly transform nightmares by changing their relationship to the content, confronting the scary figure and recognizing it as a part of themselves, or consciously generating compassion toward it. While Western psychology might interpret this in terms of shadow integration or mastery over fear responses, the Buddhist framework emphasizes the illusory nature of all phenomena, dream and waking alike. These different cultural lenses aren't just interpretations applied after the fact. They can actually shape the experience itself. As your beliefs about what dreams are and what they mean influence how you respond emotionally when frightening content appears. The relationship between lucid dreaming and dissociation is complex and worth understanding. Dissociation, in psychological terms, involves a disconnection between thoughts, memories, feelings, or sense of identity. While lucid dreaming is generally considered a normal variation of consciousness, there are some phenomenological similarities to dissociative experiences, particularly the sense of observing yourself from a distance or feeling detached from what's happening. For most people, this observer perspective in lucid dreams is benign and even fascinating. However, for individuals with histories of trauma or dissociative disorders, lucid dreaming can sometimes blur into more problematic forms of detachment. A small percentage of people report that lucid dreams feel too detached, creating anxiety about losing their sense of self or reality. Mental health researchers emphasize that for the vast majority, lucid dreaming is psychologically healthy. But for those with certain vulnerabilities, the state might need to be approached more cautiously. If lucid dreams consistently feel alienating or increase feelings of unreality that persist into waking life, it's worth consulting a mental health professional with expertise in sleep and dreaming. The phenomenon known as dream re-entry, falling back into the same dream after briefly waking, can prolong exposure to frightening content in ways that increase distress. This happens most commonly during the final REM periods of the night, when you're sleeping more lightly and may partially wake several times. If you wake from a frightening lucid dream, feel relieved to be awake, but then fall asleep and immediately slip back into the same dream scenario. It can feel like being unable to escape. Your brain essentially picks up where it left off, sometimes remembering your previous attempt to wake up and incorporating that into the narrative. Research on dream continuity shows that dream content often maintains thematic coherence across multiple REM periods in the same night. The dreaming brain seems to return to unfinished business, which is usually neutral or even helpful for processing emotions and experiences. But in the context of a nightmare, it can feel like being trapped in a psychological loop. Neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to form new neural connections, means that your responses to frightening lucid dreams can change over time. Each time you experience fear in a dream, your brain has the opportunity to practice new responses. If you repeatedly wake in panic, your brain strengthens the neural pathways connecting lucid awareness to fear and escape. But if you practice staying present with the fear, breathing, observing, without reacting, you're strengthening different pathways, ones that associate lucid awareness with calm observation and emotional regulation. Over time, this can literally rewire your response. Neuroimaging studies, tracking individuals learning lucid dreaming over months, have shown that those who practice staying calm during challenging lucid dreams displayed increased connectivity between prefrontal regions and the amygdala, suggesting improved emotional regulation capacity that potentially transferred to waking life as well. Your brain is constantly learning from experience, including dream experience, and what you practice, fear or calm, resistance or acceptance, shapes what becomes habitual. Halfway through our journey now, the evidence builds toward a clearer understanding. Terrifying lucid dreams emerge from a perfect storm of factors. Partial activation of waking consciousness, colliding with active emotional centers. Unconscious material rising to meet awareness. The brain's fear circuits operating with reduced regulation. And often, our own resistance, amplifying what we're trying to escape. The terror is real, biochemically, neurologically real, even though the content is imagined. But here's what's also emerging. The fear carries meaning. The content reflects psychological truth, and the experience offers something valuable if we can learn to receive it differently. These aren't malfunctions to be fixed so much as messages to be decoded, tensions to be understood, invitations from the unconscious to engage with disowned aspects of ourselves. The question shifts from, how do I stop these dreams, to what are these dreams trying to show me, and how can I work with them? Let's continue exploring. You're still here with me. Thoughts still flickering like candlelight. Just notice. Don't judge. Just notice where your mind is right now. We're exploring consciousness itself, the very thing doing the exploring. Strange, beautiful, and perfectly calm. Perhaps you felt this terror too, waking in the dark, wondering what it meant. You're not alone in this. Let's drift onward together. What fear in lucid dreams reveals about consciousness is profound. It shows us that awareness and control are not the same thing. You can be fully conscious, fully aware of dreaming, yet still be unable to dictate what happens next. This challenges a fundamental assumption many people carry, that consciousness equals agency, that knowing equals mastering. Lucid dreams teach a different lesson. You can witness your mind creating fearful scenarios without being able to stop the creation. You can observe your emotional reactions without being able to immediately change them. This is actually much closer to the waking state than we usually acknowledge. How often during the day do you experience thoughts or emotions you didn't consciously choose? How often does your mind wander to anxieties you'd rather not think about? Consciousness observes these mental events, but it doesn't always control them. Lucid dreams simply make this dynamic more obvious, more visceral. The dream becomes a lens for examining how consciousness actually works, not as complete mastery, but as awareness that witnesses the arising and passing of experiences, some of which emerge from depths we don't control. The experience of recurring nightmare themes, being chased, falling, being trapped, appearing in public naked, teeth falling out, seems to be remarkably consistent across cultures and throughout history. While the specific details vary, these archetypal nightmare scenarios show up in dream research worldwide. In lucid versions of these dreams, the archetypal quality becomes more apparent. You're not just being chased by a random monster. You're encountering the chase archetype, the ancient, instinctive response to being pursued, carried in our biology across millennia. Carl Jung proposed that such archetypal images emerge from the collective unconscious, shared psychological structures common to all humans. Whether or not you accept Jung's specific framework, The universality of certain nightmare themes suggests they tap into fundamental human anxieties. Fear of loss of control, fear of social exposure and vulnerability, fear of predation, fear of confinement. When these appear in lucid dreams, you're face to face with some of the most basic fears that have haunted human consciousness for millennia. The boundary between lucid dream and out-of-body experience can become blurred in frightening ways. Some people report lucid dreams that transition into sensations of leaving their physical body, floating above it, or traveling through their house or other locations. The scientific understanding is that these are still dream experiences. Your consciousness hasn't actually left your body, but phenomenologically they feel different from regular lucid dreams. They feel realer than real, with visual detail, physical sensations, and spatial awareness that seems to match or exceed waking perception. When these experiences take a frightening turn, encountering dark entities, feeling unable to return to the body, sensing malevolent presences, the fear can be intense precisely because the experience feels so convincingly non-dreamlike. Research suggests these experiences result from the brain constructing extremely vivid simulations during sleep, possibly involving different sensory processing than typical dreams. Understanding the neuroscience doesn't always provide comfort in the moment, though when the experience is unfolding with terrifying realism, learning to communicate with dream figures rather than trying to control or escape them can transform terrifying lucid dreams into meaningful dialogues. This approach, developed by psychotherapists working with dream psychology, involves treating dream characters, even frightening ones, as aspects of your own psyche that have something to communicate. When a monster appears in your lucid dream, instead of running or fighting, you might turn toward it and ask, "What do you want?" or "What are you here to show me?" Sometimes, the mere act of facing the feared thing rather than fleeing causes it to transform. The monster might shrink, disappear, or change into something less threatening. Other times it might speak, offering surprising insights. Dream researchers who've collected accounts of these interactions report that the answers dream figures give often relate directly to waking life situations or emotional states the dreamer hasn't consciously acknowledged. The frightening figure might represent anger you've been suppressing, fear you haven't named, or a part of yourself you've rejected. Engaging in dialogue rather than battle changes the dream from a conflict to a conversation. The concept of lucid surrender, maintaining awareness while releasing the need to control, represents a more advanced approach to lucid dreaming. Beginner lucid dreamers often focus on gaining and exerting control, changing the environment, manifesting desired outcomes, directing the narrative. But some experienced practitioners describe a shift toward what they call lucid allowing or witnessing consciousness. You remain aware that you're dreaming, but instead of manipulating the dream, you observe with open curiosity what the dream wants to show you. This requires a degree of courage, especially when frightening content appears. It means staying present with fear rather than immediately trying to eliminate it. Interestingly, many who practice this approach report that paradoxically, surrendering the attempt at control often results in dreams becoming less frightening naturally. The dream seems to respond to your trust, to your willingness to stay present and receive what arises. The fear may still appear, but it becomes less overwhelming when met with acceptance rather than resistance. Neuroscience has identified specific patterns of brain activity associated with different emotional states during dreams. Using advanced neuroimaging techniques, researchers can now predict with reasonable accuracy whether a dreamer is experiencing pleasant or unpleasant content based on activation patterns in emotional processing regions. During frightening dreams, the amygdala and anterior cingulate cortex, areas involved in fear and emotional conflict, show heightened activity. Interestingly, these same regions can show similar activation during lucid dreams, where the dreamer is simply anticipating that something frightening might happen, even if no scary content has appeared yet. This suggests that the fear in lucid nightmares isn't always a reaction to frightening content. Sometimes the content is a reaction to the fear. You become lucid, feel a surge of anxiety about losing control or encountering something scary, and your brain, responding to that anxiety, generates dream content that matches the emotional state. In other words, the fear can come first, and the nightmare scenario second. This has implications for intervention. If you can notice and calm the initial anxiety surge when you become lucid, you may prevent the generation of frightening content altogether. The role of expectation in shaping dream content cannot be overstated. In sleep research studies where participants are told they'll likely have vivid dreams on a particular night, even when given only a placebo instead of an active dream-enhancing substance, they report more vivid dreams than when not given such suggestions. This expectancy effect works with emotional content too. If you go to sleep worried about having a nightmare, you're more likely to have one. In the context of lucid dreaming, if you've had several frightening lucid dreams and begin to expect that lucidity equals terror, that expectation becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. Your unconscious mind reads the script you've written. When I become lucid, scary things happen, and oblige. Breaking this pattern requires consciously changing the expectation, perhaps through techniques like pre-sleep intention setting. If I become lucid tonight, I will remain calm and curious. I will treat any fear as information, not as danger. I will remember that I am safe. Repetition of such intentions, combined with visualization of calm, lucid experiences, can begin to reprogram the expectation and alter what unfolds. The distinction between nightmare disorder, a clinical condition involving frequent, severe nightmares that impair functioning, and occasional frightening lucid dreams is important. Nightmare disorder affects approximately 4% of adults and is characterized by repeated awakenings from sleep with detailed recall of frightening dreams, causing significant distress or impairment in daily functioning. Treatment often involves a therapeutic approach called imagery rehearsal therapy, where patients reimagine their nightmares with different, less frightening outcomes while awake, rehearsing these new versions repeatedly. This technique has proven remarkably effective, with success rates around 70% in reducing nightmare frequency and intensity. Some sleep therapists have begun adapting this approach for use with lucid dreams, teaching patients to plan in advance how they'll respond if they become lucid during a nightmare, what they'll say to themselves, what actions they'll take, what attitude they'll adopt. The waking rehearsal creates a kind of cognitive script that becomes available during the actual lucid dream, providing a roadmap for responding differently to fear when it arises. The question, what does it mean when lucid dreams feel terrifying, begins to answer itself through examination. It means the dreaming mind is operating in a unique state where awareness illuminates content that usually remains hidden, where emotional systems are active but not fully regulated, where unconscious material meets conscious attention. It means fear responses are occurring in a context where the usual resolution, waking up or running away, doesn't always work. But perhaps most significantly, it means you're encountering aspects of your own psyche that want to be seen, acknowledged, integrated. The terror is the price of admission to deeper self-knowledge, the friction of consciousness expanding into territories it usually avoids. Not comfortable, not pleasant, but potentially meaningful. These dreams ask something of you: to stay present with discomfort, to listen to what the fear is protecting or revealing, to expand your capacity to hold difficult experiences without fragmenting. Whether you choose to accept that invitation or continue fighting against the dreams is up to you. But understanding their purpose can change how you relate to them. Halfway to our destination, the answer is emerging like dawn light, gradually revealing a landscape. Terrifying lucid dreams are not aberrations or failures of the dreaming process. They are not signs that something is wrong with you or that you should stop practicing lucid dreaming. They are, instead, growing panes of consciousness, moments when awareness stretches into new territory and encounters the rough edges of the psyche, the unintegrated material, the fears not yet faced. They are the mind showing you precisely what you most need to see, even when you'd rather look away. The terror serves a purpose. It gets your attention. It makes you take the experience seriously. It ensures you won't dismiss what the dream is revealing. From here forward, we'll explore how to transform that terror from enemy to teacher, how to work with these dreams rather than against them, and ultimately, what profound truths about consciousness and being they offer when approached with courage and curiosity. The path continues. Breathe slowly now and notice you exist in the space between waking and sleeping, between knowing and not knowing. This boundary is not a wall, but a doorway. Even when dreams feel terrifying, this body remains safe. This breath continues, steady and true. Time in dreams moves differently than time in bed. Minutes feel like hours. Hours pass like seconds. But here, now, in this eternal present moment, you are simply breathing, simply being. The exploration continues, but you are always anchored here, whole. We're halfway there now. Understanding terrifying lucid dreams begins with compassion for yourself. You're experiencing something genuinely difficult. Fear without the usual escape routes. Awareness without complete control. Consciousness turned inward on its own, creating processes. This deserves kindness, not self-judgment. Many people who experience frightening lucid dreams add a layer of shame or frustration. Why can't I handle this? Other people have beautiful lucid dreams. Why do mine turn scary? What's wrong with me? Nothing is wrong. You're experiencing a natural variation of a complex state of consciousness, shaped by your unique neurology, psychology, and life circumstances. Approaching these dreams with self-compassion rather than self-criticism changes the internal environment in which they occur. Research on emotional regulation consistently shows that self-compassion reduces anxiety and improves coping, while self-criticism amplifies distress. Extending the same understanding to yourself that you'd offer a friend transforms your relationship with the experience. Breathing techniques practiced during waking hours can become available during lucid dreams. Controlled breathing activates the parasympathetic nervous system, the rest and digest response that counteracts fight or flight arousal. Deep, slow breathing signals to your body that you're safe, even when your amygdala is screaming otherwise. Some lucid dreamers report that focusing on breath within the dream, consciously slowing and deepening their dream breathing, can reduce fear and stabilize lucidity. Interestingly, there's evidence that actual breathing patterns during sleep can change in response to dream content. Your real body, lying in bed, may breathe faster during a frightening dream. If you can bring awareness to breath in the lucid dream, you may indirectly influence your physical breathing, creating a feedback loop that calms both the dream experience and your sleeping body. Practices like meditation and yogic breathing during waking life create neural pathways that make conscious breathing more accessible in altered states, like lucid dreams. The symbolism in frightening lucid dreams often contains clues to their meaning. Dream symbols are highly personal, shaped by your individual associations, memories, and cultural context, but certain themes recur frequently. Water might represent emotions. Houses might represent the self. Journeys might represent life transitions. When frightening content appears, examining the symbols can reveal what the fear is actually about. Being chased might symbolize running from a responsibility or difficult truth. Falling might represent feeling out of control in some area of life. Being trapped in a building might reflect feeling stuck in a job, relationship, or situation. Lucid awareness gives you the opportunity to engage with these symbols more directly, to ask what they represent, or to experiment with transforming them. If you're being chased in a lucid dream, turning to face your pursuer and asking what it wants can sometimes transform the entire dream. The chase ends not because the threat disappears, but because you stop running from what it represents. Recent research into nightmare treatment has found that simply reducing general life stress significantly decreases nightmare frequency and intensity. Stress management technique, regular exercise, adequate sleep, meditation, social connection, therapy for ongoing stresses, all reduce the brain's baseline arousal level. When your nervous system isn't chronically activated, your amygdala is less reactive, and dreams are less likely to take on threatening tones. Meta-analyses of nightmare interventions have found that holistic approaches addressing overall well-being were nearly as effective as nightmare-specific therapies. This suggests that terrifying lucid dreams aren't just about the dreams themselves. They're about your whole psychophysiological state. Taking care of yourself during waking hours changes what happens during sleeping hours. Better sleep hygiene, stress reduction, addressing anxiety or depression, processing trauma with professional help. All of these improve dream quality, including the quality of lucid dreams. The concept of dream characters as subpersonalities comes from psychological frameworks, suggesting that we contain multiple aspects or modes of being, not a single unified self. In this view, dream characters aren't random creations, but representations of different parts of you. The frightening figure might represent your inner critic, your repressed anger, your fear of failure, or a part of yourself you've disowned. voice dialogue therapy, and similar approaches work with these subpersonalities in waking life, having you consciously engage with different aspects of yourself. Lucid dreams offer a natural arena for this kind of work. When a frightening character appears, you might ask, "What part of me are you?" or "What do you need?" The responses can be surprisingly insightful. The monster might say, "It's the part of you that's tired of being perfect." Or the shadow figure might represent grief you haven't allowed yourself to feel. Integrating these disowned parts reduces internal conflict and often reduces nightmare frequency. Sleep position can influence dream content and the likelihood of nightmares. Studies have found that sleeping on your back increases the likelihood of sleep paralysis and, interestingly, may also be associated with more vivid and sometimes more disturbing dreams. The physiological reason isn't entirely clear, but it might relate to breathing patterns. Back sleeping can worsen sleep apnea or cause partial airway obstruction, leading to brief oxygen dips that the brain interprets as threat signals. These signals might then be incorporated into dream content as feelings of suffocation, being crushed, or general anxiety. If you're experiencing frequent frightening lucid dreams and typically sleep on your back, experimenting with side sleeping might make a difference. It seems like a minor change, but dream content can be surprisingly sensitive to physical factors like position, temperature, and comfort. The phenomenon of lucid nightmares as PTSD rehearsal is being explored in trauma treatment. Some therapists are cautiously investigating whether teaching trauma survivors lucid dreaming techniques could allow them to re-engage with trauma memories in a controlled way within the dream state. The theory is that lucid awareness might provide enough psychological distance and sense of safety to approach traumatic material that's too overwhelming to process directly in therapy. Preliminary results are mixed. For some people, it's helpful. For others, it risks re-traumatization. The approach requires careful professional guidance and is not recommended as self-treatment. The concept illustrates an important point. Though, even frightening lucid dreams can potentially serve therapeutic purposes if approached carefully and with appropriate support. The fear in the dream might actually be part of a healing process, your psyche's way of gradually, in manageable doses, helping you confront and integrate difficult experiences. Dream journaling, the practice of recording dreams immediately upon waking, serves multiple functions for those working with lucid dreams. First, it increases dream recall, making you more familiar with your personal dream patterns and symbols. Second, it creates distance and perspective. Writing about a frightening dream transforms it from an overwhelming experience into an object of study, something you can examine and analyze. Third, it helps identify recurring themes or triggers that might not be obvious without the written record. Reviewing journal entries over weeks or months reveals patterns. Maybe your lucid nightmares cluster around work deadlines, or appear after certain types of conversations, or correlate with particular foods or medications. These patterns provide information about contributing factors and potential intervention points. The act of journaling also integrates the dream experience into waking consciousness, helping bridge the gap between sleeping and waking minds, unconscious and conscious awareness. The experience of time running backward, or experiencing events out of sequence in dreams, happens occasionally and can be particularly disorienting in lucid dreams. You might witness an event, then see what led up to it, then jump ahead to the aftermath, with your lucid awareness helplessly following along. This temporal non-linearity reflects how memory and imagination actually work. They're not bound by clock time. Your brain can access and arrange information in any order. In waking life, you experience strict temporal sequence. In dreams, that constraint loosens. When this happens during a frightening lucid dream, it can amplify confusion and anxiety. You might see the outcome of something terrible, then experience the lead-up, creating anticipatory dread mixed with the sense that it's already happened. Learning to accept this temporal fluidity rather than fighting it, to simply observe the dream's unique logic, reduces the disorientation and associated fear. The role of sound in dreams is fascinating. Most dreams include auditory elements, voices, music, environmental sounds, and these sounds are entirely generated by your brain, yet they can seem as real as external sounds during waking. In frightening lucid dreams, sounds often amplify fear. Footsteps approaching, whispers in the darkness, ominous music, screams, or disturbing mechanical noises. Interestingly, some lucid dreamers have discovered they can influence dream sounds consciously, humming or singing to change the emotional atmosphere. Sound carries emotional resonance in ways that can shift the dream's tone. Humming a familiar, comforting song in a lucid dream might not make a nightmare disappear, but it can provide a sense of agency and calm, a reminder that you're partly creating this experience and can influence it, even if you can't control it entirely. Grounding techniques used for anxiety management in waking life can be adapted for lucid dreams. Grounding involves connecting with physical sensations and present-moment reality to counteract dissociation or panic. In a lucid dream, you might focus on the sensation of your dream hands. Press your dream feet firmly into the dream ground. Describe your environment in detail, using all senses, or remind yourself repeatedly, "I am dreaming. I am safe. This will end." These techniques create structure and stability when the dream feels chaotic. They engage the parts of your brain involved in sensory processing and self-awareness, potentially strengthening prefrontal cortex activity and improving emotional regulation. Over time, the regular practice of lucid dream grounding can make it more automatic, so it becomes your default response to fear rather than panic or attempts to forcefully escape. The question of whether lucid dreams can cause harm is one people ask, especially after frightening experiences. The research consensus is clear. Lucid dreaming itself is not harmful for most people. It doesn't damage sleep quality, increase nightmares in the long term, or cause psychological problems. However, individuals with certain mental health conditions, particularly schizophrenia, severe dissociative disorders, or borderline personality disorder, should approach lucid dreaming cautiously and preferably under professional guidance, as the blurring of reality boundaries could potentially exacerbate symptoms. For the general population, even frightening lucid dreams, while unpleasant, don't cause lasting harm. They're psychological experiences, not physical threats. The fear you feel is real, but temporary. Your body and mind return to normal upon waking. Understanding this can reduce the secondary fear, the worry that the dreams themselves are damaging you, which adds another layer of anxiety to an already difficult experience. Cultural rituals around sleep and dreams, found in societies worldwide, often include protective or preparatory elements. Many traditions involve prayers, incantations, or specific rituals before sleep, intended to ensure safe passage through the night's dreams. From a psychological perspective, these rituals serve to calm the mind, create a sense of safety, and set positive intentions for the dream state. You might develop your own pre-sleep ritual if frightening lucid dreams are a concern. A few minutes of meditation, setting a clear intention for peaceful dreams, perhaps visualizing a protective light or safe space you can return to if dreams become scary. The ritual's power comes not from any supernatural protection, but from the psychological framing it provides. You're actively preparing your mind for rest, signaling to your unconscious that you intend to sleep peacefully, and creating a mental anchor you can return to if needed. The relationship between creativity and nightmares is well documented. Artists, writers, and creative thinkers often report more vivid dreams, including nightmares, than the general population. There seems to be a correlation between the openness to internal experience that fuels creativity and the intensity of dream life. For creative individuals who experience frightening lucid dreams, reframing them as raw material for creative work can change the relationship to them. Writers have used nightmare material in their fiction. Visual artists have depicted dream imagery. Musicians have described dreams, inspiring compositions. This doesn't eliminate the fear during the dream, but it can give it purpose and meaning afterward. The terrifying lucid dream becomes not just an ordeal to survive, but a source of insight and inspiration. A journey to the underworld that brings back treasure in the form of new creative material. Research on lucid dream control shows an interesting finding. The more desperately you try to control a lucid dream, the less control you actually have. This mirrors psychological findings about control in general. Attempts to rigidly control thoughts, emotions, or situations often backfire, creating more anxiety and less actual influence. In lucid dreams, frantic attempts to change what's happening can destabilize the dream entirely, causing you to wake up or lose lucidity. A lighter touch works better, suggesting rather than demanding, asking rather than commanding, flowing with the dream's momentum while gently influencing direction. This principle applies especially to frightening content. Trying to forcibly eliminate a scary dream figure often makes it persist or multiply. Accepting its presence while calmly engaging with it often leads to natural transformation. The dream seems to respond to the energy you bring. Fear and force beget more fear and force. Calm curiosity begets cooperation. The concept of the witness consciousness, the part of you that observes experience without being swept away by it, is central to many meditative traditions and is perfectly embodied in lucid dreaming. When you're lucid, you're simultaneously the experiencer and the witness of experience. You're in the dream, but also watching yourself be in the dream. This dual perspective is challenging to maintain, especially when strong emotions arise. But it's also profoundly valuable. It's the same quality of awareness that meditation cultivates. The ability to notice thoughts and feelings without identifying completely with them. To create space between stimulus and response. Frightening lucid dreams offer intensive training in this capacity. Each time you maintain awareness during fear without being completely consumed by it, you're strengthening your ability to witness difficult experiences, a skill that transfers to waking life, helping with anxiety, anger, grief, and other challenging emotions. Certain supplements and medications can make dreams more vivid, increasing both the potential for lucidity and the intensity of any frightening content. Vitamin B6, taken before bed, is reported to enhance dream vividness. Melatonin supplements, while primarily for sleep timing, can also intensify dreams. As mentioned earlier, substances like galantamine that affect acetylcholine levels have strong effects on dreaming. If you're experiencing problematic, frightening lucid dreams, and you're taking any supplements or medications, it's worth investigating whether they might be contributing factors. Sometimes, simply adjusting the timing of when you take a supplement, or reducing the dose, can significantly affect dream intensity. Conversely, if your dreams have become less vivid and you miss lucid dreaming, vitamin B6 or other dream-enhancing substances might help, though always with the understanding that they amplify all dream content, pleasant and unpleasant alike. Neuroimaging research suggests that lucid dreams may involve a unique activation pattern, with some brain regions showing waking-like activity while others remain in dream state patterns. This hybrid activation creates the lucid state, a configuration of consciousness that reveals much about the modularity and flexibility of the mind. Understanding this helps explain why lucid dreams feel both dreamlike and thought-like, both imaginative and intentional. It also suggests why losing lucidity is easy. If executive control regions quiet down even slightly, you slip back into regular dreaming. Conversely, if they activate too much, you wake up. Lucidity is a narrow band between these extremes, and in that narrow band, you're experiencing a truly unique configuration of consciousness, one that reveals much about how different aspects of mind can operate semi-independently, yet simultaneously. Ancient dream incubation practices, used in cultures from Greece to Egypt to indigenous Americas, involve deliberately seeking specific dream content, often for healing or guidance. The dreamer would perform rituals, sleep in sacred spaces, and set strong intentions for particular dreams or dream visitors to appear. While modern sleep science doesn't validate the supernatural claims of these practices, the psychological principles are sound. Focused intention, ritual, and expectation do influence dream content. You can adapt this ancient practice for working with frightening lucid dreams. Before sleep, clearly set an intention. If I become lucid and encounter fear, I will remember to breathe, to stay curious, to ask what the fear wants to teach me. Visualize yourself responding calmly to frightening content. This mental rehearsal creates a framework that your dreaming mind can access, increasing the likelihood that you'll respond as intended when the actual situation arises. The healing potential of dreams has been recognized across psychological traditions, from Freudian psychoanalysis to Jungian depth psychology to modern CBT-based approaches. Dreams provide a window into the unconscious, revealing conflicts, desires, fears, and unprocessed experiences. Frightening lucid dreams, while unpleasant, offer an especially clear window because consciousness is present to observe what emerges. What you see in these dreams, the content, the emotions, your responses, can provide valuable insight into your psychological state. Maybe the dreams reveal anxiety you haven't acknowledged. Maybe they show you're avoiding a difficult decision. Maybe they reflect trauma that needs professional attention. Paying attention to the message rather than just trying to eliminate the messenger can transform terrifying lucid dreams from problems to solve into teachers to learn from. The fear is not the point. What the fear points toward is movement in dreams, particularly the sensation of flying or falling, involves different neural correlates than waking movement. Your motor cortex isn't directing actual physical movement during dreams. Your body is paralyzed, but it's creating the experience of movement nonetheless. This simulated movement can feel extraordinarily real in lucid dreams. The sensation of flying is usually pleasant, while falling is typically frightening. But experienced lucid dreamers sometimes report learning to transform the sensation of falling into flying simply by changing their mental interpretation of the experience. You're falling. You realize you're dreaming. You think, "I can fly," and the sensation shifts. This isn't magic. It's your brain responding to your expectation and reframing the sensory simulation it's creating. The fear of falling transforms into the exhilaration of flight through a shift in meaning, demonstrating the remarkable plasticity of conscious experience. Community and social support make a significant difference for people struggling with frightening dreams of any kind, including lucid nightmares. Online forums, support groups, and communities of lucid dreamers provide spaces to share experiences, receive validation, learn from others' strategies, and feel less alone. When you're experiencing something as subjective and private as frightening lucid dreams, it's easy to feel isolated, to think you're the only one going through this. Connecting with others who understand can be profoundly reassuring. They can offer practical techniques that worked for them, empathy for the difficulty of the experience, and hope that it can change. The simple act of describing a frightening lucid dream to someone who understands and responds with compassion rather than dismissal can help integrate the experience and reduce its emotional charge. The question many ask is whether they should stop trying to lucid dream if the experience keeps turning frightening. There's no universal answer. It depends on the individual, the severity of the fear, the impact on overall well-being, and personal goals. Some people choose to take a break from active lucid dream practice, allowing their dream life to return to normal patterns while they focus on stress reduction, therapy, or other forms of emotional work. Others decide to continue but adjust their approach. Less focus on control, more on observation, less use of induction techniques, more acceptance of spontaneous lucidity when it occurs. Still others work specifically with the frightening content, treating lucid nightmares as opportunities for exposure therapy and psychological integration. What's important is making an informed choice rather than continuing something that feels harmful out of stubbornness or shame. Lucid dreaming is a tool, not a requirement. It should serve your well-being, not undermine it. Emerging from our exploration, a shift in perspective has occurred, hasn't it? We began with the question, what does it mean when lucid dreams feel terrifying? And we've journeyed through neuroscience, psychology, technique, and meaning. The terror that felt like a problem needing solution has revealed itself as something more complex. an experience arising from the unique conditions of lucid consciousness, carrying information about unconscious material, amplified by resistance and expectation, but also holding potential for insight, growth, and integration. The fear is real, but it's not the whole story. Behind the fear is the psyche's desire to heal, to integrate, to bring hidden material into awareness where it can be understood and incorporated into your conscious life. The terrifying lucid dream is an intense messenger from depths you don't usually access, arriving with news you may not want to hear, but perhaps need to receive. So what does it mean when lucid dreams feel terrifying? It means you're conscious during a state where consciousness doesn't usually tread, witnessing the raw material of the psyche before it's been filtered, processed, or made palatable. It means encountering fear in its purest form, stripped of the storylines and justifications that fear usually wears in waking life. It means seeing how your mind creates reality, generates meaning, produces emotion, all in real time, with you as both creator and audience. It's uncomfortable, sometimes deeply so, but it's also, in a strange way, a gift. The gift of seeing yourself more completely. The gift of realizing that you're larger than your fears. The gift of consciousness turning back on itself and recognizing its own processes. The terror teaches what comfort cannot. Resilience, courage, humility, acceptance. Not easily, not gently, but effectively. And perhaps that's the deepest answer to the question. Terrifying lucid dreams mean your consciousness is growing, stretching, learning to hold more than it could before. Growing pains of the soul, revealing you're becoming more than you were. You might be feeling tired now, and that's perfectly fine. Breathe slowly and feel the cycles moving through you. Wake to dream, dream to deep sleep to waking again. Consciousness rises and falls like breath itself. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. Fear comes, fear goes. Dreams arrive, dreams dissolve. Even terrifying moments pass, like clouds across the sky. You don't need to hold on to anything. Not the fear, not the understanding, not even these words. Let everything flow through you like water through open hands. You are the space through which experience moves, not the experience itself. Resting, allowing, accepting the endless cycles. We're almost there now. In the end, all dreams fade upon waking, terrifying and beautiful alike. The nightmare that felt endless while you were in it dissolves into morning light, leaving only memory and feeling. This impermanence is part of the dream's nature. Nothing in the dream state is solid or permanent. Knowing this, truly internalizing it, changes how you experience frightening lucid dreams. Yes, the fear is real in the moment, but the moment itself is temporary, already dissolving, even as it arises. When you can remember this truth during the lucid dream, the fear loosens its grip slightly. This too shall pass. This too is dream stuff, insubstantial, soon to be forgotten. The perspective of impermanence brings gentle detachment. Fear, when met with curiosity instead of resistance, transforms into information. What exactly are you afraid of in the dream? Being hurt, losing control, dying in the dream, staying trapped forever. When you examine the specific fear, it often reveals something about waking life. Fear of being trapped in the dream might mirror feelings of being stuck in a job or relationship. Fear of dream violence might reflect inner harshness toward yourself. The content is symbolic, pointing toward emotional truth. Lucid dreams offer the remarkable opportunity to ask fear directly. What are you protecting me from? What are you trying to tell me? And sometimes, astonishingly, fear answers. The practice of loving-kindness meditation, sending wishes of peace and well-being to yourself and others, can be brought into lucid dreams. When frightening content appears, instead of reacting with fear or aggression, you might try mentally offering compassion. May you be at peace. May you be free from suffering. This sounds strange, offering compassion to a nightmare monster. But the monster is you, a part of your own psyche. Offering it kindness is offering yourself kindness. Some practitioners report that this approach causes frightening dream figures to soften, transform, or even embrace the dreamer, even when it doesn't change the dream content. It changes the dreamer's heart, creating more space for acceptance and less for fear. Your waking life is also a dream of sorts, just a more stable, collectively agreed upon one. Philosophers and mystics have noted this for millennia. The boundary between dream and reality, upon close examination, becomes less clear than it first appears. Both are experiences constructed by your brain, mediated by consciousness, interpreted through your unique perspective. This isn't to say waking life is unreal, but rather to suggest that dreams aren't as unreal as we assume. They're real experiences, real emotions, real insights, just occurring in a different mode of consciousness. Understanding this can bring wisdom back from frightening lucid dreams into daily life. The fears you face at night often mirror fears you carry during the day, just dressed in different costumes. Silence within the dream can be more powerful than trying to speak or scream. Many frightening dreams involve loss of voice, trying to call for help but producing no sound. In a lucid dream, instead of fighting this silence, you might embrace it. Silence is its own kind of power, the power of witnessing without reacting, presence without words. Sitting silently in a frightening dream, observing without trying to change anything, can create a profound shift. The dream might change anyway, responding to your calm presence, or it might not change, but you discover you can endure it, that fear cannot actually harm you, that you're larger than any nightmare content your mind generates. Gratitude, as strange as it sounds, can be practiced even for frightening lucid dreams. Not gratitude for the terror itself, but for what it reveals, teaches, or catalyzes. These dreams show you your fears plainly. They offer opportunities to practice courage. They reveal psychological material that might otherwise remain hidden, festering in the unconscious. They remind you that you're more resilient than you knew. They prove that you can witness intense emotion without being destroyed by it. Finding gratitude for difficult experiences is an advanced practice, but it transforms suffering into growth. The nightmare becomes your teacher, stern perhaps, but teaching essential lessons. The body, lying safe in bed, never forgets. It's safe even when the dreaming mind is terrified. This disconnect is part of what makes lucid nightmares so strange. Your physical body is completely relaxed, warm, comfortable, protected, while your mental experience is panic and fear. Learning to access awareness of the physical body while in the lucid dream creates a lifeline back to safety. Some lucid dreamers practice this in the midst of a scary dream, bringing attention to the sensation of their real body, the pressure of the mattress, the warmth of blankets, the rhythm of breathing. This dual awareness grounds the experience, reminding you that one aspect of you is perfectly safe, even while another aspect is exploring frightening territory. Transformation happens slowly, through repeated experience and practice. You won't have one frightening lucid dream. Read about new approaches, try them, and immediately have only peaceful dreams. Change requires patience and consistency. Each time you bring a little more awareness, a little more calm, a little more curiosity to a frightening dream, you're training your mind. Over time, responses that initially require great effort become more natural. What once triggered panic might trigger only mild anxiety. What once felt unbearable becomes manageable. The dreams might not stop completely, but your relationship to them transforms. This is the work of a lifetime, really. Learning to meet difficulty with grace. Dreams sometimes offer intuitive information that goes beyond obvious psychological interpretation. While much dream content clearly relates to daily concerns and unconscious processing, many people report dreams that seem to provide creative solutions to problems or insights they couldn't have consciously known. Science struggles with these reports because they don't fit neatly into current models of how dreaming works. Yet the experiences persist across cultures and centuries. Lucid dreams, with their enhanced awareness, might offer clearer access to intuitive information. A frightening lucid dream might be your psyche's dramatic way of warning you about a situation you've been ignoring consciously. Rather than dismissing this possibility, remain open to multiple levels of meaning. Beyond all the dream content, beyond every frightening image, there remains something untouched. The simple fact of your existence, your being. Dreams come and go. Emotions rise and fall. Fears appear and disappear. But you remain. The fear cannot touch what you essentially are. This understanding brings ultimate safety. Building trust in this requires patience and proof. Each time you survive a frightening lucid dream and wake unharmed, trust grows slightly. Each time you respond with courage rather than panic, trust deepens. Eventually, you might reach a place where you enter dreams knowing, whatever arises, I can meet it. My psyche is fundamentally on my side, even when it shows me difficult things. I am safe even in the midst of fear. This is profound self-trust, earned through direct experience. Terrifying lucid dreams can shape you in ways that last. The person who has navigated fear in the strange territory of lucid nightmares carries that knowledge forward. They know something about courage that can only be learned experientially. They understand the constructed nature of reality in a visceral way. They've seen their own mind's creative power, its capacity to generate worlds, evoke emotion, create meaning from nothing. These aren't abstract insights. They're embodied knowledge, earned through direct encounter. The frightening lucid dream becomes an initiatory experience, a trial that changes those who pass through it. Forgiveness toward yourself and toward the dreams themselves can be healing. Forgiveness for the nights you panicked instead of staying calm. Forgiveness for the times you couldn't maintain lucidity or couldn't transform the fear. Forgiveness for judging yourself harshly about your dream experiences. Forgiveness toward the dreams for being frightening, for not matching your expectations, for revealing difficult truths. Forgiveness releases the tight grip of should, how the dreams should have been, how you should have responded. What is. What was. Meeting it with forgiveness allows movement forward rather than staying stuck in shame or resentment. After a frightening lucid dream, consider writing about it, creating art inspired by it, or consciously reimagining the dream with a different outcome. This isn't denying what happened, but continuing the processing while awake, using creative expression to complete what the dream began. The nightmare imagery, transformed through creativity, becomes less threatening. You've taken the experience and reshaped it, demonstrating to yourself that you're not at its mercy but can work with it, transform it, make meaning from it. After traveling this path through neuroscience, psychology, symbolism, and practice, the question that began our journey: what does it mean when lucid dreams feel terrifying has answered itself in layers? It means consciousness is encountering unconsciousness. It means awareness is illuminating shadow. It means the psyche is presenting material for integration. It means old fear patterns are being activated in new contexts. It means you're experiencing the limits of conscious control. It means you're being invited to deepen trust, courage, and acceptance. All these meanings coexist. The terror in lucid dreams arises from many sources at once. There's no single answer, but rather a tapestry of answers, each thread revealing part of the larger picture. Beyond all the techniques and understanding, there's a simple truth. Sometimes dreams are just frightening, and that's okay. You don't always need to extract meaning, learn a lesson, or transform the experience. Sometimes you just need to survive it. Wake up, remember you're safe, and move on with your day. Not every frightening lucid dream is a profound teaching moment. Some are just neurons firing in chaotic patterns, emotional centers activated, the mind sorting through debris with you accidentally conscious during the process. Accepting this removes pressure. You don't have to make every dream meaningful. Some are just weather passing through the mind. The mysterious bridge between sleeping and waking consciousness reveals itself in lucid dreams. You're neither here nor there, but somehow both. This liminal space, this threshold state, is where transformation often occurs. In myths, in initiatory rites, in psychological breakthroughs. The frightening lucid dream is a liminal experience. You're suspended between control and chaos, between conscious and unconscious, between self and other. Uncomfortable, yes, but liminality is fertile ground. Identity becomes fluid. New possibilities emerge. What seemed fixed becomes malleable. The terror of the liminal space is the terror of not knowing who or what you'll be when you emerge. But emergence is coming, always, with the morning. Your relationship with fear in dreams often mirrors your relationship with fear in waking life. Notice how you respond when dream fear arises. Do you run, fight, freeze, try to wake up? These are likely your habitual fear responses, playing out in the dream realm. Lucid dreams offer a laboratory for experimenting with new responses. What if, instead of running from the dream monster, you stood still? What if you responded to threat with curiosity? What if you breathed through panic instead of fleeing? The dream becomes practice ground for rewiring fear responses that might then transfer to waking life. The paradox of lucid dreaming is that achieving it requires both effort and surrender, both intentional practice and letting go. You set intentions, practice techniques, develop awareness, all active, effortful processes. But the moment of becoming lucid often comes when you relax that effort, when you stop trying so hard, when you allow rather than force. The same paradox applies to working with frightening lucid dreams. You practice techniques, learn approaches, cultivate skills, but ultimately, transformation comes through surrender, through accepting what is, through releasing the desperate need to control the experience. Effort creates conditions. Surrender allows emergence. As our journey approaches completion, notice what's changed in your understanding. The fear that might have seemed like pure suffering has revealed dimensions of meaning, purpose, information, and potential growth. The dreams that felt like attacks have shown themselves as communications, invitations, opportunities. The terror that overwhelmed awareness has become the very ground of deeper self-knowing. None of this erases the difficulty. Frightening lucid dreams remain challenging, but challenge and meaning can coexist. Difficulty and growth can dance together. The dream that terrifies can also transform, if you bring the right attitude to meet it. Ultimately, the deepest teaching might be this: you are consciousness, experiencing itself through infinite variations. The beautiful dream and the nightmare, the pleasure and the terror, the clarity and the confusion, all of it is consciousness, exploring its own nature. You are simultaneously the dreamer dreaming the dream being dreamed, and the awareness witnessing both. This is always true, waking and sleeping. But lucid dreams make it obvious. The terror you experience is consciousness, exploring what it's like to be afraid. The courage you bring to meet it is consciousness, exploring what it's like to be brave. Both are you. Both are consciousness. Both are the infinite creative play of awareness. Walking through this exploration together, from neuroscience to poetry, from technique to philosophy, from question to answer, something has shifted. The frightening lucid dream, viewed from all these angles, becomes less an enemy and more a mystery. Mysteries don't demand solutions. They invite contemplation. You can live with mystery. Rest alongside it. Let it continue revealing itself in its own time. Maybe you'll never fully understand why some of your lucid dreams turn terrifying. Maybe the understanding will dawn slowly, years from now. Maybe the terror itself was the teacher, and the lesson was learning to sit with unknowing. Your journey with lucid dreams is uniquely yours. The experiences you've had in those strange hybrid states belong to you alone. No one else has walked precisely the path you've walked through the landscapes of your dreaming mind. Someone else might have only beautiful lucid dreams while yours turn scary. That doesn't mean you're doing it wrong. It means your psyche has different material to present, different lessons to offer. Honor your unique journey. Trust that your dreams, however frightening, are showing you exactly what you need to see. The final fact is perhaps most important. You are always safe in the end. However terrifying the lucid dream, however long it seems, however powerless you feel, morning comes, waking comes. You return to your body, to your room, to the world where dreams cannot harm you. Every frightening lucid dream you've survived is proof of your resilience. You've faced fear in its purest form and emerged. That's strength, whether you feel it or not. Your capacity to endure, to witness, to continue. This is the bedrock of resilience, forged stronger through each difficult dream. And so, we arrive at the conclusion of our journey through terrifying lucid dreams. The question, what does it mean when lucid dreams feel terrifying, has blossomed into 100 answers, each facet reflecting light differently. It means your consciousness is more vast than waking awareness usually reveals. It means fear is a teacher, however harsh. It means the unconscious speaks in powerful symbols when it needs to be heard. It means you're capable of holding difficult experiences without fragmenting. It means transformation is possible. It means you're not alone in this strange human experience of being aware while dreaming. And perhaps most essentially, it means you're alive, conscious, growing, learning, integrating, meeting the fullness of your psyche with increasing courage and wisdom. The terror was never the end point. It was always the beginning, the doorway, the call to deeper understanding. And you answered, well done. And so, our quiet journey through the strange territory of lucid dreams and terror comes to a gentle close. We've traveled from the neuroscience of fear circuits in sleeping brains to the philosophical question of what consciousness itself is when it meets its own creations. We've explored why awareness doesn't always grant control, why fear persists even when we know we're dreaming, and what those frightening dreams might be trying to show us. From brain chemistry to shadow psychology, from breathing techniques to surrender practices, we've gathered insights like stones on a path, each one part of the larger map of understanding. Terrifying lucid dreams remind us that consciousness is larger and stranger than we usually acknowledge. Much of what we are remains hidden even from ourselves, emerging only in dreams, in symbols, in experiences that surprise and challenge us. These dreams reveal that awareness and mastery are not the same thing, that knowing doesn't equal controlling, that we are always more mystery than solution. Without these difficult dreams, we might never glimpse our own depth. By pausing to meet the terror with curiosity instead of only resistance, we discover resilience we didn't know we had, and wisdom that only struggle can teach. In these final minutes, take the deepest breath you can manage. As deep as possible, think about unity, about all the states of consciousness you move through. Wake, dream, deep sleep, and back again. Every aspect of experience, the peace and the terror, the clarity and the confusion, all part of the same consciousness, your consciousness. You are not separate from your dreams, even the frightening ones. They are you, speaking to yourself in the language of night. Think about consciousness itself. Yours, mine, Everyone listening right now, all awareness, everywhere, perhaps connected in ways we don't yet understand. You are not alone in the universe of minds. Let your entire being dissolve into the ocean of consciousness, into dreamless rest, into the space before thought. Prepare for deep sleep. No boundaries left, only peace. If this thoughtful exploration of lucid dreams and fear brought you understanding or peace, perhaps share it softly with someone else navigating their own strange dreams. A gentle like, subscribe, or whispered recommendation might help another restless soul discover this sanctuary. It only takes a moment, but it means the world to us. One quiet tap, one sleepy soul at a time. But there's no need to do anything now. Nothing at all. You've traveled far tonight, through territories of mind most people never consciously visit. You can allow these thoughts about dreams and fear to fade now, like mist dissolving in morning sun, leaving only gentle calm behind. Let your breathing deepen naturally. Let your body feel heavier, as if the earth itself is reaching up to hold you safely. If sleep comes, let it carry you like a slow river flowing toward the sea, smoothly, inevitably, into a realm where time and weight and worry no longer matter. If your eyes are still open, the next video is waiting for you, ready to continue the journey through quiet science. But if they're closed, stay there. Stay in the darkness that feels safe and warm and utterly peaceful. Tomorrow, your dreams will still be there, mysteries to explore if you choose. The questions about consciousness, about fear, about meaning, they'll wait for you. But tonight belongs to stillness. Rest well, gentle traveler, and remember, you are larger than any dream, stronger than any fear, safer than you know. Dream deeper with bedtime science. Good night.